First is AI, second is AI, third is AI.
That's quite a statement. It sounds a little bit like a broken record, doesn't it? If you heard someone chanting that on a street corner, you might, give them a wide berth.
I would definitely cross the street.
Mm-hmm.
But this wasn't some random person. That was Masayoshi Son, the chairman of SoftBank.
Right. And the context is everything. He wasn't just talking to himself. He said this during a visit to the Blue House in July of 2019. He was, for all intents and purposes, giving a direct order to the leadership of South Korea.
It's just so incredibly bold. To walk into the equivalent of the White House and tell the president, look, you need to focus on one thing, and just in case you missed it, I'm going to say it 2 more times.
And he wasn't there to talk about, trade policy or something mundane. He was delivering a prophecy about the future of the entire global economy.
And when a man who runs the Vision Fund, we're talking about a fund with $100 billion, when that man repeats himself with that kind of urgency, it's not a mistake. It's a flashing neon sign.
It's a signal, a huge one. He's saying that the ground isn't just shifting under our feet. A whole new continent is forming, and the old one is sinking into the sea.
Which is the perfect entry point for what we're tackling today.
Yeah.
We're going deep on a report from Insecurity called The AI Wave, coming at 10x speed. And I'll be honest, when I first saw that title, my first reaction was just exhaustion.
I get that.
10x speed. I feel like I'm barely holding on at 1x speed. I mean, my phone updates and I can't find the search bar for a week. So 10x sounds less like an opportunity and more like a threat.
It does sound intimidating, I'll give you that. It's meant to grab your attention. But the 10x isn't really about your phone getting faster. It's about the speed at which entire industries will be created and other industries will be completely destroyed. It's about value creation.
Okay, so the stakes couldn't be higher.
That's the takeaway. But the whole mission of this deep dive today isn't to make you more anxious. It's the opposite. We want to cut through all the noise, all the, science fiction baggage that comes with this topic.
No Terminators today.
No Terminators. We're going to look at artificial intelligence through a really specific and I think very useful lens. The lens of digital transformation.
Digital transformation. DT. Okay, I'm stopping you right there.
Yeah.
Because digital transformation has to be in the top 5
Yeah.
of corporate buzzwords that mean absolutely nothing to those people.
Oh, for sure. It's on every PowerPoint slide in every boardroom.
Right. And when I hear it, I just picture some middle manager who's really proud because they finally scanned all the old paper invoices into a PDF folder. They put it on a shared drive, and they have a pizza party to celebrate. We did it. We digitally transformed. Is that what we're talking about?
That is the classic misunderstanding. And thank you for bringing it up, because it's the most important distinction we need to make today. That is digitization.
Okay, digitization.
You're taking an analog thing, a piece of paper, and you're making a digital copy. It's just archiving. Digital transformation. It's a completely different beast. The report defines it as the collapse of the boundary between the bit world and the atom world.
The bit world and the atom world. You're getting a little philosophical on me here early in the morning.
Think of it like this. The bit world is the world of information. It's weightless. It's frictionless. You can send an email to Australia instantly for free. You can copy a file 1,000,000 times. It's a world of pure potential.
Right. It's where we live now, on our screens.
And the atom world is, well, it's everything else. It's the physical world. It has gravity, friction, and mass. It's slow. It's expensive to move a car from Detroit to Dallas. You can't just copy and paste a chair.
Okay, I'm with you.
Digital transformation is when you use the magic of the bit world, its speed, its intelligence, to directly and automatically control the atom world. And the report gives us a formula for it, which I think is really helpful.
I do love a formula. It makes it all feel more concrete. Lay it on me.
0DT equals common tech times backbone tech times augmentation tech.
Okay, that sounds like a mouthful. Let's break that down piece by piece. First up, common tech. What's that?
Common tech is the engine. It's the brain. And for our purposes, that is AI. It's the core disruptive force that allows for intelligent decision making. Without it, the rest of the formula is just, dumb hardware.
Got it. AI is the brain. So what's backbone tech?
That's the nervous system.
Right.
This is your 5G, your cloud computing, your Internet of Things, or IoT. It's all the infrastructure that connects everything together and allows data to flow instantly.
And why is 5G so important there? Why not just say the internet?
It's about the speed, but more importantly, it's about latency, the delay. If you're streaming a Netflix movie, a half-second buffer is annoying, but it's not life or death.
Right.
But if you're a self-driving car in the atom world and a child runs into the street, your sensors need to send that data to the AI brain in the bit world, have it make a decision, and send the command brake back to the physical wheels instantly. You can't have a buffer. 5G makes that real-time connection possible.
Okay, so no buffering on the highway. I like that. Finally, what's augmentation tech?
This is where the rubber meets the road. Literally. These are the hands and the eyes of the system. Robots, drones, virtual reality, augmented reality headsets. It's the hardware that actually perceives and manipulates the physical world based on the AI's decisions.
So a true digital transformation isn't scanning a PDF. It's an AI brain. The common tech getting real-time data from a sensor over a 5G network, the backbone, and telling a robotic arm, the augmentation, to apply a tiny bit more pressure when welding a car door.
You've got it. That's a cyber-physical system. It's a new kind of organism. And the reason this is so critical is that if you don't understand this formula, you're going to miss the entire wave. You'll be investing in companies making better scanners when the world is building autonomous factories.
Which brings us to the core of it all, that common tech engine, AI. And the report makes a fascinating point right at the start about our collective psychology. It feels like we have this massive case of whiplash when it comes to AI.
We absolutely do. It's a classic information asymmetry problem. People don't know what to believe. The World Economic Forum actually put numbers to this back in 2017. They did a huge survey on emerging technologies.
And what did they find?
They found that AI had the absolute highest score for positive expectations. People thought it would solve climate change, cure disease, all of it, but it also had the highest score for negative expectations.
So we think it's both our savior and our destroyer at the same time.
Exactly. It's completely polarized. On one end, you have tech phobia. This is the Terminator Skynet narrative. The robots are coming for our jobs. Then they're coming for us. It's a deep-seated fear of the unknown.
And it makes for great movies, but it's probably not a very useful framework for, planning your retirement portfolio.
Not at all. And then on the complete opposite end, you have the hype. This is the idea that AI is pixie dust. You just sprinkle a little machine learning on your failing business model and poof, record profits.
I see this all the time. The company will just mention the letters A and I on their earnings call, and the stock will jump 15% for no reason.
Yes, it's magical thinking. We're using AI to optimize our supply chain. What does that even mean? So the report says to get past this paralysis between fear and hype, you need a structured approach. They call it the 3 stages and 4 areas framework.
Okay, a roadmap. I like roadmaps. What are the 3 stages?
Stage 1 is the most important, understanding the concept. You have to learn the fundamentals. What is hardware? What is software? What is data in this new world? You can't just skip to the end.
And stage 2?
Stage 2 is predicting the impact. Once you know what it is, you can start to think, okay, what is this actually going to do to the automotive industry, to healthcare, to my job?
And then stage 3 is the action plan.
Exactly. Formulating strategy. How do I invest? How do I pivot my career? What skills do I need to learn? It's a logical progression from knowledge to action.
And the 4 areas are just the domains you apply that thinking to.
Right. The impact on industry, on specific corporations, on society as a whole, and of course on global asset markets. So let's start at the beginning. Stage 1, understanding the concept.
Let's do it. But I don't want to start with a computer science lecture. The report uses this metaphor that I thought was surprisingly elegant. It says, AI is like water.
It's the perfect way to think about it. Water itself doesn't have a shape, does it? It's formless. If you pour it into a cup, it takes the shape of the cup. If you pour it into a vase, it becomes the vase.
Water, my friends, Bruce Lee.
He was ahead of his time. AI is exactly like that. You don't go to the store and buy a gallon of artificial intelligence. It's not a product you buy off the shelf.
Right.
You buy a product or a service that has the AI inside it. The AI is the water, and the product is the container. It's the AI inside concept, like the old Intel ads.
That makes so much sense. It explains why AI feels like it's becoming invisible. We don't notice the water, we just notice that our tea is hot.
Precisely. It's becoming an ambient utility, like electricity. Let's look at how it's already changed our day-to-day lives. Think about how you discovered new music, say, 15 years ago.
Easy.
Yeah.
I listened to the radio, or I looked at the Billboard Top 100 chart, or maybe a friend made me a mixtape. Everyone was served the same menu.
It was a mass market, a standardized list of hits. Now, open Spotify or Apple Music, the main page isn't the top 100 anymore. It's your daily mix, songs you might like. It's completely personalized.
I don't even choose songs half the time. I just tell my speaker, play something chill, and it just knows it. It's kind of unnerving, actually.
That's the water taking the shape of a personal DJ. It's not just looking at what artists you like. It analyzes the acoustic properties of the music, the tempo, the key, the instrumentation, the danceability, and it matches patterns you're not even consciously aware of.
And it's not just music. The report says 70% of the hours people spend watching YouTube are driven by the recommendation algorithm.
70%. Think about that. The majority of what the world is watching is being curated by an AI. We're not actively choosing. We're passively accepting the AI's predictions about what we want.
We've outsourced our own tastes.
But because, frankly, the AI is better at it than we are. And this is leaking from the digital world into the physical. You brought up Starbucks. I think that's a brilliant example.
I always just thought of them as a real estate company that happens to sell coffee.
They are a tech company through and through. In the United States, they launched a service called My Starbucks Barista. You just talk to your phone. Get me my usual, a grande soy latte, but make it extra hot today.
And it understands my usual.
It understands your usual, it understands natural language, it places the order, it deducts the money from your account, and the app tells you it'll be ready in 3 minutes. There's zero friction. You don't stand in line. You don't have to shout your complicated order over the sound of a blender.
You just walk in and grab it. The technology becomes invisible.
That is always the goal of great technology, for it to disappear into the background. Another one is this Food Lens app.
Oh yeah, the calorie counter.
But it's so much more than that. The biggest reason people fail at dieting is that tracking what you eat is a massive pain. You have to look everything up, weigh your food, enter it into a log.
It's tedious. You give up after 3 days.
With Food Lens, you just take a picture of your plate. The image recognition AI identifies the food. That's a chicken breast. Those are broccoli florets. That looks like about a cup of rice. And it automatically calculates the calories, the protein, the carbs.
It removes the single biggest barrier to entry. That's a game changer for public health.
It really is. So we know AI is this fluid thing, this water filling every container. But what does the water do? The report breaks this down into 3 core functions, which is a really clear way to organize it.
Right. Recognition, prediction, and performance.
Or, to put it in human terms, which I like,
The senses, the brain, and the hands.
the senses, the brain, and the hands. Perfect. Let's start with the senses. Recognition. This is all about the AI perceiving the world around it. Hearing, seeing, sensing.
Voice is the obvious one. We all have Alexa or Siri in our pockets. But the moment that made everyone in the tech world sit up straight was the Google Duplex demo.
I remember watching the video of that presentation. My jaw was on the floor. It felt like a genuine leap into the future.
For those who haven't seen it, just describe what happened.
Google's AI assistant made a phone call live on stage to a real hair salon to book an appointment for a user, and the person who answered the phone at the salon had absolutely no idea they were talking to a machine.
And the thing that made it so spooky and so brilliant was the imperfections. The AI wasn't a perfect robotic voice.
Exactly. It used what linguists call disfluencies. It would say, and When the receptionist offered a time, the AI said, while it was processing. It sounded completely natural.
And it could handle a curveball. The receptionist said, "We don't have an appointment at 10 a.m., and the AI didn't crash.
It didn't. It paused for a second, and you could almost hear it thinking, and it said, oh, okay, what about sometime between 10 and 12? It negotiated. It understood the context of the conversation, not just the literal words.
That's a huge leap. It's recognizing social nuance, not just speech patterns.
It is. But let's raise the stakes from booking a haircut to saving a life. The applications of recognition in medicine are just staggering.
The report talked a lot about cancer diagnosis.
Right. Using image recognition on medical scans. AIs are now being trained on millions of images of tumors, colorectal, breast, bladder cancer, and they're learning to spot the patterns. In some studies, their accuracy is approaching 100%.
So better than a human radiologist.
In some specific narrow tasks, yes. And it's not an insult to the doctor. A human doctor gets tired, they might be distracted, they might have seen 50 normal scans in a row and get a little complacent on the 51st. The AI never gets tired, it never has a bad day. It can see microscopic patterns in the pixels that a human eye might just glide over.
There's another device mentioned that really hit home for me. It's called Night Watch for epilepsy patients.
This is such a powerful application of the technology. A huge fear for people with severe epilepsy is something called SUD, Sudden unexpected death in epilepsy.
It often happens when they're asleep, right?
Yeah.
They have a seizure and no one is there to help.
Exactly. It's a tragedy. So, Night Watch is a wearable device, like an armband, that the person wears to bed. It continuously monitors heart rate and motion. But it's not just a simple alarm.
It's recognizing a specific pattern.
A very specific pattern. It's learned the biometric signature of a clinically urgent seizure versus, say, just someone tossing and turning in their sleep or having a bad dream. If it recognizes that dangerous signature, it immediately sends an alert to a caregiver or family member.
It's an AI guardian angel. It's using its senses to watch over someone when they're at their most vulnerable.
That's a beautiful way to put it. But of course, there's a flip side to all this recognition technology. There is a creepy factor that we have to talk about.
A very big creepy factor. Let's talk about the Walmart patent for a biometric shopping cart.
Yes. This one definitely raised some eyebrows.
So the handle of my shopping cart is going to take my pulse.
Your pulse, your skin temperature, the force of your grip. The idea, according to the patent, is that the system can infer your emotional state. It can detect if you're becoming frustrated or stressed or angry.
Okay, so let's say I'm in the cereal aisle and they've moved my favorite brand again, and I'm gripping the handle in a white-knuckled rage. The cart knows.
The cart knows. And the system could then theoretically ping a store employee's device and say, customer in aisle 7 is highly stressed. Go offer assistance.
I don't want assistance. I want them to put the Cheerios back where they belong. That sounds like an absolute nightmare. A surveillance state in the supermarket.
I'm with you. It feels like a massive invasion of privacy. But here's where it gets nuanced. Take that exact same technology, emotion and fatigue recognition, and put it inside a car. There's a company called Affectiva doing this.
How does that work? Is it reading my hands on the steering wheel?
It's watching your face. A small camera on the dashboard monitors your head position, your eye blink rate, how often you yawn. It's looking for the telltale signs of drowsiness.
The little micro sleeps that happen right before you drift off the road.
Exactly. And if it detects that you're starting to fall asleep, it can sound an alarm, vibrate the seat, maybe even suggest the nearest coffee shop on the navigation.
See, now that I'm completely fine with, I will happily let my car spy on my face if it prevents me from driving into a ditch.
And that's the key. The underlying technology is identical. It's just pattern recognition. But the context, the application, determines whether we perceive it as creepy and invasive or helpful and life-saving.
A really important distinction. Okay, so that's recognition, the senses. Let's move on to the second function, the brain, prediction.
This is where AI starts to feel like magic, and it's what Masayoshi-san was really talking about. He says the greatest power of AI is not recognition, it's inference. It's the ability to predict the future.
And the poster child for this has to be Amazon's anticipatory shipping. I've heard this term, but it sounds like science fiction.
It's very real, and it's a total paradigm shift in logistics. The old way, the Atom World way, is you go online, you order a book, a person in a warehouse finds the book, puts it in a box, and ships it to you. It takes days.
Right, the normal way.
Amazon's AI brain analyzes everything it knows about you.
Yeah.
Your past purchases, what's on your wish list, what you've searched for, how long you hovered your mouse over an item. It even looks at broader trends in your neighborhood.
And it builds a profile and predicts what I'm going to buy.
It predicts with a high degree of certainty that you specifically are going to buy that book on Tuesday. So on Monday, before you've even ordered it, they move a copy of that book from a huge central warehouse to the small local fulfillment center just a few miles from your house.
This is already sitting there waiting for me.
Waiting for you.
Yeah.
So when you finally do click that Buy Now button, the delivery time isn't 2 days, it's 2 hours. They're basically shipping your package before you even know you want it.
But what happens if they're wrong? What if I decide I want a different book?
It's a numbers game. They might be wrong sometimes, and they'll have to ship that book back. But the cost of being wrong is far lower than the value they create by offering near-instant delivery. They are monetizing prediction.
It's also happening in the much higher stakes world of finance. The report talks about an AI called Kensho.
Kensho is fascinating. It was acquired by S&P, the big financial data company. Think of it as an army of tireless financial analysts. Imagine a major, unexpected event happens. Let's use Brexit as the example.
Okay. The UK votes to leave the EU. Chaos ensues.
Exactly. For a human analyst, that's a nightmare. You have to try and figure out, what does this mean? What happened to the British pound the last time there was a major political shock in Europe? What about gold prices? It would take a team of analysts weeks to research that and write a report.
And by then, the market has already moved. The opportunity is gone.
Kensho can answer those questions in minutes. It can scan millions of news articles, market data points, and historical events going back decades. It found correlations and produced a report predicting the pound's trajectory with what turned out to be shocking accuracy.
It's seeing the past so clearly that it can map the future.
In a probabilistic way, yes. And it's not just for big events. There's even an ETF, an exchange-traded fund, with the ticker symbol AIEQ. It's run by IBM's Watson. The AI makes all the trading decisions. No human fund manager.
That's a lot of trust to put in an algorithm. Let's bring it back down to earth. My favorite example of prediction in the report was Sanatoic.
I love this one too. It's from a Korean education company called REID. And TOEI is this standardized English test that's a huge deal for getting a good job in many parts of Asia.
And studying for those tests is the worst. You get this textbook, it's 1,000 pages long, and you just grind through it chapter by chapter. It's so inefficient.
Totally inefficient. You waste so much time studying concepts you've already mastered. What Sanatoic does is different. It uses AI to predict, with over 90% accuracy, which specific questions you are going to get wrong.
So it knows my weaknesses better than I do.
Far better. As you answer questions in the app, it's building a sophisticated model of your knowledge. It figures out, this person understands past tense, but they're weak on the subjunctive mood. So it stops giving you past tense questions you're just going to ace.
It only serves you the stuff you need to work on.
Precisely. It creates a personalized learning path for you in real time. The company claims it reduces the average study time needed to hit a target score by more than 20 hours.
That's working smarter, not harder, in its purest form.
That's prediction creating efficiency.
Okay, so we have the senses, recognition, the brain, prediction. That brings us to the final piece, the hands, performance. This is where the AI actually does something in the physical world.
Right. And the first thing that comes to mind here is usually robots. But we're not talking about the old school, giant, dangerous robot arms you see behind cages in a car factory.
This is a new generation of robots.
A new generation of service robots or cobots that can work safely alongside humans. A great example from the report is Tally.
The shelf scanner.
Right. Tally is this tall, skinny robot that just quietly roams the aisles of a grocery store all day. It uses cameras to scan the shelves. It checks for out-of-stock items, price tags that are wrong, or products that are in the wrong place.
So it's doing the most boring, tedious job in the whole store.
Exactly. Which frees up the human employees to do what humans are good at. Helping customers, answering questions, providing a personal touch. Tally does the grunt work.
And then there's Flippy, the burger flipping robot.
Flippy is a robotic arm that works in commercial kitchens. It uses thermal imaging to see exactly how cooked a burger patty is, and it flips it at the perfect moment. Every single burger is cooked consistently.
But the report makes a really provocative argument here. It says that performance isn't just about manual labor anymore. It claims AI is starting to perform. Creative acts. Now, this is where my human brain gets defensive.
It's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of us.
I can accept a robot flipping a burger. I cannot accept that a robot can write a poem. It doesn't have feelings. It's never been in love. It's never had its heart broken. How can it create art?
That's the philosophical objection, and it's a valid one. We like to think there's a spark of divinity in human creativity that can't be replicated. But the evidence? Well, the evidence is starting to challenge that belief.
Okay, challenge me.
Let's start with visual art. Google's Deep Dream project. The AI was trained on millions of images, and then it was basically asked to dream, to generate its own images. The results were these strange, beautiful, psychedelic artworks.
The ones with all the dog faces everywhere.
Yes, a little weird, but undeniably original. And one of those AI-generated artworks sold at auction for over $97,000.
So someone valued its performance pretty highly.
Very highly. Now let's look at literature. In Japan, a team submitted a novel that was co-written by an AI to a literary competition, and it passed the first round of screening. The human judges didn't immediately identify it as being written by a machine.
But did it win?
It didn't win, but the fact that it was coherent and compelling enough to even get past the first gate is significant. But for me, the most powerful example is the Lexus commercial.
I remember this. IBM's Watson was involved.
That's right. They fed Watson the scripts, the video, and the data from 15 years of award-winning luxury car commercials. It analyzed everything: the pacing, the emotional beats, the type of music that swells at a certain point, the camera angles that evoke a feeling of freedom.
It reverse engineered human emotion. It created a formula for what makes us feel something.
It did. And based on that analysis, it wrote a complete script for a new commercial. Now, a human director and human actors shot it, but the narrative, the story arc, came from the AI, the result. The commercial won a prestigious advertising award.
Honestly, that's a little humbling for anyone who writes for a living.
It forces us to confront a really difficult question. If a piece of art or a piece of music or a commercial written by an AI makes you feel a genuine human emotion, does it matter that the creator didn't feel anything itself? If the performance is successful, does the intent of the artist still matter?
That's a question we could probably spend a whole other hour on. It suggests that our creative jobs might not be the safe harbor from automation that we all thought they were.
It suggests that creativity might just be another form of complex pattern recognition. A very tough idea to accept.
Okay, so we have a clear picture of what AI is doing now: sensing, thinking, and doing. But how did we get here so suddenly? It feels like this all just exploded in the last decade. Section 4 of the report gives a great history lesson on this. AI isn't new.
Not at all. The term itself was coined at a conference at Dartmouth College way back in 1955. We've been working on this problem for the better part of a century.
But it's been a journey of fits and starts. The report talks about the AI winters.
2 of them. Long periods where the hype died down, the progress stalled, and all the research funding completely dried up. Everyone basically gave up on the idea for a while.
So what happened during the first winter?
The first one was in the mid-70s to the early 80s. The problem was a fundamental limitation in the early neural networks. It's famously known as the XOR problem.
Okay, you're going to have to explain the XOR problem like I'm 5 years old.
I'll try. XOR stands for exclusive OR. Imagine you have a bunch of red dots and blue dots on a piece of paper, and you have to draw one single straight line to separate them. The early AI models, the perceptrons, could only do that. They could only solve problems that were linearly separable.
Okay, so if all the red dots are on the left and all the blue dots are on the right, it's easy.
Easy. But the XOR problem is like having 2 red dots and 2 blue dots in a checkerboard pattern. There is no way to draw one single straight line that separates the colors. The computers were just fundamentally too simple to understand that kind of complex, nonlinear pattern. And when researchers couldn't solve it, the government pulled their funding. Winter came.
And the second winter. What caused that one?
That was in the late 80s and early 90s. This was the era of expert systems. The approach was totally different. Instead of trying to get the machine to learn, they tried to manually program it with rules.
Like a giant instruction book.
A giant branching list of if-then statements. If the patient has a fever and a cough, then they might have the flu. They tried to build these for everything, from medical diagnosis to geology.
It sounds logical.
It is, for very simple, closed systems. But the real world is messy and ambiguous. What if the patient has a low-grade fever? What if the cough is dry, not wet? The number of rules you need grows exponentially. The systems became incredibly brittle. They would break the second they encountered a situation that wasn't explicitly covered in their rules. The market for them collapsed. Winter came again.
So that leads to the big question. Why is this time different? Why are we in a third boom and not just heading for a third winter?
Because 3 critical things finally came together at the same time. The report calls it the Holy Trinity: big data, advanced algorithms, and most importantly, powerful hardware.
Okay, data is the fuel. We're creating more of it than ever before. Algorithms like deep learning got better, but you're saying the real linchpin was the hardware, specifically the shift from the CPU to the GPU.
This is the single biggest technical reason for the current AI spring. Understanding this shift is crucial.
So, as a gamer, I know a GPU is a graphics card. It makes my video games look pretty. What does that have to do with AI?
Let's use an analogy. A CPU, the central processing unit, that's the main brain in your computer, is like a single brilliant PhD mathematician. Let's call him Albert Einstein. You can give him any problem, no matter how complex advanced calculus, quantum physics, and he can solve it. But he works serially. He does step 1, then step 2, then step 3.
Great for running a spreadsheet or a word processor.
Perfect for that. But it's terrible for AI tasks like image recognition. To recognize a picture of a cat, an AI needs to process millions of pixels all at once. If you ask our Einstein CPU to do that, he has to look at each pixel one by one. Is this pixel gray? Okay. Is the next pixel gray? Okay. It would take him forever. It's a waste of his genius.
A bottleneck.
A massive bottleneck. Now, a GPU, a graphics processing unit, is different. A GPU isn't one Einstein. It's an army of 10,000 third graders.
Okay.
Individually, none of them are geniuses. You can't ask them to solve calculus, but you can give each one of them a single simple math problem, like 2 plus 2, and they can all shout out the answer at the exact same time. That is parallel processing.
So for AI, which is just a ton of simple calculations, we don't need a genius. We need an army.
We need an army. And it just so happened that the gaming industry had spent decades and billions of dollars perfecting these parallel processing chips to render realistic graphics. The AI researchers realized they could hijack that hardware for their own purposes. That's why a graphics card company, NVIDIA, suddenly became one of the most important tech companies on the planet.
But the report says we're not done. The evolution is continuing. We're moving beyond GPUs to something called neuromorphic chips.
This is the holy grail. Neuromorphic literally means brain-shaped.
So we're building chips that are physically shaped like a human brain.
Not physically, but architecturally. See, every computer built since the 1940s has a fundamental design flaw for AI. It's called the von Neumann bottleneck.
Okay, another technical term. Break it down.
In a normal computer, you have the processor, the part that thinks, and you have the memory, the part that stores information, as two separate things. To do any calculation, the processor has to constantly fetch data from the memory, do the math, and then send the result back to be stored. All that data traveling back and forth on a tiny wire creates a traffic jam. It uses a ton of energy and generates a lot of heat.
That's why my laptop gets hot and the fan starts screaming when I have too many tabs open.
That's the von Neumann bottleneck in action. But our brains don't work like that. In the brain, the processing and the memory happen in the same place. Your neurons and synapses both process and store information. There's no separation, there's no commute.
And that's why my brain can run on the energy from a banana, and a supercomputer needs its own dedicated power station.
You've got it. The human brain is the most energy-efficient computing device known to exist. It runs on about 20 watts of power less than a dim light bulb. Neuromorphic chips are an attempt to copy that architecture, to build chips with artificial neurons and synapses that compute and store in the same location.
If they can crack that, what does it enable?
It enables incredibly powerful AI to run on very little power. It means you can have supercomputer-level intelligence on a small, battery-powered device. Think autonomous drones that can fly for days, or a hearing aid that can translate languages in real time. It enables AI on the edge, away from the cloud.
Wow. Okay, that's a mind-bending look at the future. Let's bring it back to today and talk about strategy. Section 5. This is the so what for anyone listening. The report introduces a really important idea: timeshare versus market share.
This, for me, was one of the biggest insights in the whole report. It's a fundamental shift in business strategy. For the entire 20th century, companies fought for market share. How many cars did Ford sell versus GM? What percentage of the soda market does Coke have? It was about selling units.
But in the AI era, that's not the main battlefield anymore.
The main battlefield is for the user's time. Time is the only truly finite resource. You can't manufacture more of it. So the smartest companies are now fighting for what the report calls timeshare. How many minutes of a user's day do I control?
And the example they use is Amazon's Echo speaker, Alexa.
It's the perfect example. Amazon often sells those Echo devices at or even below cost. They lose money on the hardware. Why would they do that?
Because they don't care about the one-time sale of a $50 speaker. They care about getting a permanent Amazon microphone into my kitchen.
They want to own the interface. They want to be the default portal through which you interact with the digital world. If they control your time, you're asking Alexa for the weather, to play music, to order paper towels, then the market share, the actual sales, will inevitably follow.
It's a land grab for our attention. And as the report notes, as of early 2019, Amazon had 61% of that smart speaker market. That's not just a product lead. That's a strategic chokehold on the future of the home.
It is. And it ties directly into the other key strategic concept, technology push versus market pull.
Okay, explain that. Market pull is the traditional way, right? You ask customers what they want, and then you build it.
Right. Henry Ford supposedly said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. That's market pull. Customers are asking for an incremental improvement on what already exists.
But AI isn't a faster horse. It's a car.
It's a car. It's a technology push. This is where the innovation doesn't come from customer feedback. It comes from a breakthrough in the lab. Nobody was marching in the streets demanding a smartphone before the iPhone came out. We were perfectly happy with our little BlackBerry keyboards.
Steve Jobs didn't use focus groups. He had a technical insight and pushed it onto the market.
He had a vision for what was possible. And that's the point for anyone trying to understand this wave. If you're an investor, you can't just look at companies that are responding to what customers want today.
You have to find the companies that are building what we don't even know we want yet.
You have to find the companies with deep technical insight, the ones who are pushing the boundaries of what's possible. That's where the 10x returns are. It's a riskier bet, but it's the only way to ride the crest of the wave instead of being crushed by it.
And the report ends by coining this term, the Uber moment.
Right. The Uber moment is that point in time when an entire industry gets turned on its head, seemingly overnight, by a new technology. Uber didn't own a single car, but they used a mobile app to completely disrupt the century-old taxi industry.
The axis of innovation has shifted. It was mobile that powered the last Uber moment.
And now, the report argues, the axis has shifted again. The next Uber moments won't be powered by mobile apps, they'll be powered by AI. We're all waiting for the Uber of healthcare, the Uber of legal services, the Uber of education.
And they will all be built on that formula we started with. AI, the brain, 5G, the nervous system, and robots and augmentation, the hands.
That's the stack.
Wow. We have covered a truly massive amount of ground today, from redefining digital transformation as the merger of the bit and atom worlds, to AI being like water, to its three core functions, recognition, prediction, and performance, and then diving deep into the hardware that's making it all possible.
It's a lot. It's a fire hose of information. But if you take just one thing away from our conversation today, let it be this. The boundary is dissolving. The digital world is no longer something that just lives behind a screen on your desk. It's flowing out into the physical world. It's in your home, in your car, and in your body.
So I guess that leaves one final question for you and for everyone listening. We've used the metaphor that AI is like water, or maybe like electricity. It's a new fundamental utility that's going to power the entire 21st century.
So the question you have to ask yourself is, are you building a hydroelectric dam to harness that power? Are you at least learning how to swim? Or are you just standing in the middle of the valley watching the water rise, hoping you don't get wet?
That is the thought we will leave you with. Because understanding this stuff is no longer optional. It's the price of admission to the future. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
My pleasure. Keep learning.